Good evening, Tom, good evening. My name's Anthony Manzano. This is our executive committee meeting for the LA 32 Neighborhood Council. Today is Wednesday, December 27th, and the time is 6:04. I'll be indicating that the meeting is starting at 6:04 will be our call to order. We want to welcome those that are here, understanding that time is precious during this holiday season. I'm present, and we have our vice president here beside me. So at this time, we would like to call item number one. Number one is our call to order. The time indicated will be 6:04. And welcome those that are here this evening. Item number two on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. We do have a flag over here on my right side, but on your left. So please stand and we'll do item number two. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That will close item number two on our agenda this evening. Item number three is our roll call. I'll start with myself, Anthony Manzano, present. Vice President Jackie Carrillo.
Present.
Treasurer Michelle Corzantes. Corresponding Secretary Cynthia Sandoval. Recording Secretary Stephanie Escobar. At this moment, we only have 2 officers present, and we do not have quorum to take official action at this time, but we can move to item number 4, which gives an opportunity for the stakeholders to provide public comment. So item number 3 is closed with 2 members present, and it'll be noted that there's no quorum at this time, but we will move forward to item number 4, which gives an opportunity for the stakeholders to address concerns or issues that they may have regarding our services to the community. So I'll just take a show of hands. We'll offer 3 minutes to the stakeholders. Is there any stakeholders that wish to speak to us? Good evening, Jorge.
Good evening. So, on third board meeting, August 2nd, 2017, there was a stakeholder initiative that stated that the motion that LA32 NC shall send a letter to the city planning requesting a full environmental impact report on the proposed development of Jose de Castilla apartments at the 4208 East Huntington Drive South, Los Angeles, California, 90032, and it has CPC number and environmental report number. Anyway, I'm requesting a copy of that letter that was sent. The motion was passed 1101 by the board, and this motion is for a letter requesting that the city do a full EIR for this project at 4208 East Huntington Drive South. It's an 85 unit proposed project, and the board voted to have a full EIR done before anything was constructed there. And so the letter was supposed to be sent out to the city planning department, and I want to copy that letter so I could have for my records, please.
Okay, and the note that you're providing, does that say August meeting?
August 2nd meeting, yes.
August 2nd. Thank you for that. Are you, anything else? Anything else? I'm not timing you, I'm sorry, but anything else?
That's it. I just want to copy that letter that was sent out on behalf of the NC.
I'll see if I have it in my notes in a moment.
Okay. That was it.
Are there any other stakeholders? Tom?
Okay. In 2018, I will be issuing 2 grievances regarding LA 32 Neighborhood Council. First one will be based upon the outreach and the number of postings that are provided, and the relationship of that to the bylaws and to the standing rules. And after going through the bylaws and standing rules, the outreach and posting is, for me, a major one. And as it is applied to how the budget is prepared and revised and then expended. And there is totally inadequate documentation on the latter, the finance, budget and finance.
Okay, so the first one is regarding outreach and postings. The second one is finances?
Yeah. Actually, budget and financing. You get a total amount, and then somehow it is distributed at the beginning. And the question is, the paper trail, as it goes from the committee to the board, and then as it is revised during subsequent months. So, that's all. Next year.
Thank you, thank you. Anything further, Tom? Tom, anything further?
What?
Anything further?
No.
Okay, so,
That's been,
yeah, 2 grievances is enough. So one for outreach and postings in relation to bylaws and standing rules. The second is finances, budget, and, budget. Okay, thank you. Are there any other stakeholders that wish to give a little input or public comment?
You note that, 610,
Yes,
Michelle.
I'll be doing that right now. Okay, we'll be indicating that we do have 2 additional officers arriving. The time is 6:10. Thank you. So we do have now quorum to officially start conducting business. This was our
Snipper
just
should be
public,
bringing more copies,
our
right?
public comment period. Item number, is there anything further for item number 4? Item number 4 will now be closed. Item number 5 will give an opportunity for the officers to give comments or announcements. I'll start on my left. Michelle, this evening, do you have any announcements or comments tonight for us?
Just want to make sure you guys are on the right agenda.
We're using, actually, I didn't make I didn't express that, but the agenda, I understand, was changed, modified, altered, corrected. Any word someone wants to use to just show it was different than what was set up as a regular agenda. But what it is that we're gonna make sure we get all the business taken care of, but the supplemental agenda, the amended agenda, the special agenda, has items on there that should not be on there, which are the 2 MPG requests.
So just so you know, the agenda that I just passed out is what I printed, what Empower LA sent to our stakeholders,
Mhm.
and what's on our website, and what our web person sent to our stakeholders. The other one was taken down physically, and this one was put up not only on the website, but physically. So I just want to make sure we're in compliance, because if we follow the other agenda, it's going to be a Brown Act violation, because the other agenda is not on the website, is not physically posted, and if we proceed with that agenda, it is a huge violation, because that's not even on the Empower LA website. Like I mentioned, it's the one that I just finished passing out, that
Okay.
Empower LA has,
Well, I'll let you know exactly how that turns out, but basically, both of the agendas are identical, just one has MPGs added to it compared to the
Correct.
ones that doesn't have
so
MPGs
we have
added
to
to it.
follow the one that's on the
Hold,
website.
one moment. What it is if we do follow that one, let me take a look.
I did a few in case we had extra people.
If we could follow it, it's the same thing, but that means item numbers 11 and 12 will be stricken from that agenda. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but I'll express why we'll use that agenda. It's on the website. If you strike item 11 and 12, it basically reverts back to the regular agenda that I posted. And what it is, and I guess Michelle has a few copies here. On that agenda, it indicates that there's a few groups or a couple that are submitting MPGs. While we were at our general board meeting, I had suggested that we navigate one of these MPGs, which was Woodrow Wilson High School, to the Education Committee. And oddly enough, at that time, some board members felt that it was not appropriate to send it to committee because they automatically get set on the agenda. Well, if it doesn't go to Education Committee, then it doesn't come to Executive Committee either, because we don't hear these items. We don't vote on them. We don't take action on them. We don't even discuss them. They automatically go to the agenda. So those 2 items, which are on the supplemental amended corrected, whatever word, the synonym someone wants to use, items 11 and 12 will be stricken from that agenda.
Mr. Chair?
Because there's no discussion for those items. MPG process goes directly for agenda setting process, which is what we're doing today.
Mr. Chair, we can't just strike them out. They're on the agenda. Somebody would have to motion to strike them
Well,
out.
first, what I'd like to do is maybe ask those that are here, since we do have, I'm gonna indicate Cynthia just showed up.
Thank you.
And I was still justifying something before you cut me off. I
Okay.
have here, if you'd like to pass this down, a document of a vote that took place that put our MPG in process. So this clearly confirms that the MPGs go automatically on the agenda.
That's exactly what I'm mentioning.
So the,
So if, well, let me,
So,
hold
well,
on,
I'm
say if they
still- I'm not-
automatically
I'm
go
not-
to the agenda, then there's
I'm
no
not done
sense
yet.
for
Can
put
I
it on
continue?
today's agenda.
Can I continue? I'm not done yet.
Only if it relates to striking those items, because
Can I
we don't hear
continue?
them, we don't hear them tonight.
May I continue without you interrupting me, sir?
We'll listen.
Thank you very much. So like I was saying, I just passed out the, board vote that has to do with the MPG process, and, if, per Brown Act violation, we just not hear it, it'll be a grievance, and it will be grievable. We can't just not hear it because the chair said we're not gonna just hear it. It has to be, either somebody makes a motion to not hear it, and someone seconds it, and we vote not to hear it, but it cannot just be just because the chair of this committee said, we're not gonna hear it, because it's just, we're not gonna hear it. That's not Brown Act violation. I'm so sorry, but if we do that, we are not following Brown Act, and we need to, leave it on the agenda and proceed with it, because it is a huge violation.
I'm gonna make a correction, and actually, the only way we incur a violation is if we conduct business that is not on the agenda. There's no violation if there's an item on the agenda and we don't hear it. That's not a violation. Our obligation to the stakeholders is to inform them of everything that we're doing, the time we do it, and that we do it in a public meeting. So that's what we're doing this evening. But I'll read from here, and I'm just gonna go to the last sentence. All applications will automatically go on the general board agenda. Applications must be filed completely, looks like, but I'll read it again. All applications will automatically go on the general board. With that being said, and thank you for providing the documentation to the other officers, there's no need to hear this item today. There's no discussion, there's no board vote, there's no committee vote, we don't review this, we don't decide whether we want to or not. It automatically goes. Therefore, my question will be, out of the 5 officers that are here, since this is a special agenda, I'm gonna ask the same question that we did at the last general board meeting is, who of the officers here was informed to place this item on the agenda?
They
And
said
I'd like
this,
I'd like to see a show of hands. One,
I can justify that for you, sir.
so you have a show of hands, one.
Wait, I don't understand the question. What are you asking?
They send it to the executive committee. Both of these organizations send it to executive committee, which
So all
means
of us, if we read
when
our
you
emails,
email
okay.
execboard@le32nc.org, 5 of these officers get it. So if you didn't open your email,
We're
You
not,
should have
we're not
opened it.
talking about that. We're talking about how it got established to a special agenda.
so because of that, it gets placed on the executive agenda. Of course, common sense, we're not gonna discuss it and we're not gonna decide how much and go into discussion, no, but it needs to go on the agenda for transparency, on the executive agenda, for transparency for Brown Act, that it is gonna go on the general, so we can give it a number, so we can say.
That's not the right
so
process
so
we follow. The
so we-
word,
can I
I'm following
finish?
the
May I
board's
finish?
vote.
May I finish? So we,
That's gonna
as
take
the,
a long time.
so we as the, are you done?
No, I'm
Are
just
you done?
mentioning
I think that
because,
was very rude of you to do that when I'm speaking.
no,
Can you
because
please?
we've
Can
suggested
you
we'll have a
please?
time
Okay,
limit
I'm
for
not,
tonight's
well, I'm
meeting.
not done, and don't interrupt me, okay? And don't say those remarks when I'm speaking,
All
because
I'm
that's
just
very
saying-
rude. You're putting stress on all of us here today.
No, actually,
Okay?
actually,
before-
if we alleviate
so
the
before I-
conversation, we would
May I
alleviate the
finish?
stress and
May
we
I
would be done with
finish?
this already.
You need to follow procedure. Since you are not following procedure, we have
Says
to
who?
stop.
Says who?
So the way I was saying is, they emailed these MPGs to executive committee email. 5 officers got it, because that is what the board vote was here, which I gave everybody a copy, and you guys can have one as well, stakeholders, but they get on the executive agenda. Of course, we don't discuss them. We know we're not gonna discuss them, but we put them on the executive agenda so we can move them to the general board and give them a number. What number is it gonna be? Is it gonna be number, new business number 7, 8, 9, 10? That's why we put it on there, transparency, Brown Act. It's so the stakeholders can see. It's not just for your eyes only, you get it in an email and then you at home decide to put it on whichever number you like. No, it doesn't work like that. It's so, we, right now, the 5 officers can decide what number will it go under new business. That's all I'm saying. It's not
Okay.
on there so we can decide.
You've expressed yourself, thank you. I'm gonna make the final decision, and I'm gonna mention this one more time. If
Don't
you're
make
talking,
the decision.
listen, if you're talking about transparency, my opportunity as the chair at the general board meeting was to send it to the education committee. There was objections, because this document, and I'll read it again, all applications will automatically go on the general board. So think about it logically. Yes, transparency, but now practical, make it happen. If it doesn't go to education committee, it doesn't come here. Very simple. It will be put on the agenda for January. It gets set as through the process as soon as I receive it, but it does not go on today's agenda. You can't have it one way at the general board meeting and then today have it another way. This has zero to do with transparency and nothing to do with the Brown Act. Zero. It is not a Brown Act violation to remove items from an agenda. So we're gonna follow the tally vote of September 2nd, 2015, which was over 2 years ago. Follow the process and all, even though I don't like it, but all applications will automatically be placed on the general board agenda. As soon as we receive it, that is the agenda setting process. That's why, and I'm just gonna try to make people understand. If we're gonna put this on today's agenda, then the question would be, why don't we put it on the education committee agenda? They're a committee.
Can I speak?
We're not taking public comment at this moment. It's just, someone has to understand that this items 11 and 12 will not be heard.
I
Also,
don't think you have the authority to just remove
well,
it.
I'm gonna ask the question again. At the general board
And you will be
meeting,
violating
one
my
moment.
rights as a stakeholder if you remove them. And they will be grievable.
No, they're not. Pay attention.
No, you need to understand.
Okay, one
and tell me
moment.
to pay attention. 'Cause
One
you're being-
moment.
You're being unprofessional.
No,
Yes.
I'm not. Just listen.
You are.
What it is at the general board meeting, I had an opportunity to make this go to a committee.
And the committee met and where was it on the agenda?
Correct. Now, this doesn't come to the executive committee agenda, because we don't,
There's a process and it
The-
does go.
I'm gonna read the process. All applications will automatically go on the general board.
But you're not reading the full motion.
That's the process.
Thank
You're
you.
not reading the full motion, it says.
Okay.
approve
It
the-
doesn't say to
Before-
go to a committee. It
Be-
does
All
not go to a
exactly.
applications will be
committee.
emailed to
Exactly,
executive
that's
committee,
why it
so it
doesn't
does
go
come
to
us.
executive committee. I need you guys to understand that it doesn't come to this committee either. But
we're
here's-
not-
It says
Here's
right
my,
here.
here's
You
my,
have selective reading.
no, I
So
have,
that's
a-
in this committee and then it
I'll
goes
read
to
the whole
general
motion,
board.
but I'm gonna ask a question. There was a special agenda established. Of the 5 officers here, please raise your hand if you were informed, acknowledged, and approved of the special agenda. I think she raised her hand a little earlier. I wanna see a raise of
You did that at
hands.
the general board meeting,
Yes.
and I think you're putting your board members on the spot, and I
You're
don't
being a
think it's
bully.
necessary. The MPGs were submitted, and because they were automatically submitted, they go on the agenda.
Correct.
Under the grievance committee, it came out that Empower LA has to approve the agendas. That is one of the things that came out of that committee, okay? If MPGs are submitted to the treasurer, she could just tell Empower LA, these MPGs were submitted, and our process, our protocol is to add them to the general board agenda.
Correct. That's what we're
So it
doing.
doesn't need approval of any of the committee members of this committee.
That's right.
Simply by the applications being submitted and treasurer letting Empower LA know these items need to be added, because, president didn't add them, chair didn't add them, Empower LA could ask them. That is part of the process that's going on right now.
I totally agree with you that they automatically go on the agenda, but if they don't go to no committee, then why are they here?
This is the committee.
We
they
don't
go
hear
to.
that. All we do is we
You
receive
were
them.
out of the board for a while, and changes happened when you were out of the board. And the protocol right now for
One-
MPG